Did you know that the sugar industry paid scientists in the 1960s to lie about the link between sugar and cardiovascular disease? This brings up many ethical problems related to how our healthcare industry works. Everyone's main goal is just to make a lot of money rather than helping people, says O'Connor. Coca-Cola, the world's largest producer of sugary beverages, has provided millions of dollars in funding to researchers who found the link between sugar and cardiovascular disease. As a nutritional science major, I am always looking at food labels. I recently have started looking into how much sugar an item contains due to the new research that sugar is what causes cardiovascular disease, not fat. The most important ingredient that people should cut out of their diet is processed sugar. Processed sugar has been linked to cause cancer, weight gain, blood sugar problems, increased risk of heart disease, and many more. Most adults do not stay within the guideline of eating less than 10% of total calories from added sugar, where most people are at about 17% of total calories from added sugar. I believe that people need to be informed that fat does not make you fat, sugar does. Too much added sugar is one of the leading causes of cardiovascular diseases and obesity. It is hidden in everything, even in items you least expect. Soda is the biggest culprit, and people need to realize how much healthier they can be when they limit their soda intake. One really easy way to reduce this problem is to learn how to read food labels. Food labels can be extremely complicated, but with proper knowledge, this problem can be reduced significantly. Too much added sugar in a person's diet can have negative health consequences that can affect their health in the long run. In a typical year, a teenage boy will eat about 138 pounds of sugar, most of this coming from sugary soft drinks, according to Lauren Cattermole. This is more than double the recommended amount that should be eaten per year by a teenager. They should be eating a maximum of 66 pounds of sugar per year. As humans, we are eating far too much sugar than we should. This can lead to dangerous health effects that is affecting our society. Processed sugar is debatably one of the worst sugars to eat, causes a variety of problems to the body. Despite the popular belief that fat is the biggest reason for getting fatter, sugar is actually what causes the weight gain. Furthermore, sugar is not only found in those sweets, it is also found in most other foods. There have been multiple studies done with individuals ranging from children to old adults that show the negative health effects of that sugar causes. Reducing sugar intake will lead to many health benefits for all individuals. Learning how to read food labels can really benefit a consumer when looking for healthy alternatives. While most sugar at high levels are not good for you, processed sugar is one of the worst types. Not only does it lead to weight gain, it can also lead to elevated risk for cardiovascular disease. According to Yang, the researchers that study cardiovascular disease and sugar says you're at risk for high mortality rates because of cardiovascular diseases because of the added sugar, but also race, physical activity, and other factors can influence this. By decreasing the amount of added sugar eaten can decrease your risk significantly. Furthermore, high levels of sugar can mask good nutrients in food. For example, a cake can be made with healthy ingredients that are good for the body, but with sugary icing on top, the body will only recognize the sugar. This can cause weight gain and many other problems. This also can cause malnutrition, which is a lack of energy, but also can lead to malabsorption, many other factors that can influence your body negatively. Eating less processed sugar allows your body to properly absorb the nutrients that you are eating. As nutrients are being absorbed, this is what increases your energy levels in your body. Now that I've talked about how processed sugar causes cardiovascular disease and other ways it affects your body, let's talk about the other negative consequences added sugar can have. Stated above, sugar causes weight gain, and more sugar and added sugar causes weight gain as well. With this increased weight gain brings more problems. Some of these problems include type 2 diabetes and high levels of the bad cholesterol. Both of these problems can be fixed by changing your diet, which includes much less added sugar. According to a health policy report, an adolescent's risk for becoming obese increases 60% of the time they drink one serving of sugary soft drinks per day. This means that adolescents are drinking 2 sodas daily. They are essentially guaranteed to become obese. However, these habits are changed, they can reduce this risk significantly. Before you bite into that protein bar, check to see how much sugar it contains. Protein bars are a huge sneaker of sugars. Despite the belief that sugar is only found in sugary foods, there are some levels of sugar in almost everything. This includes yogurt, spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, soup, baked beans, protein bars, many things. One reason that makes finding sugar in food hard is that sugar is known by many names. If you're familiar with the terminology, many sugars end in OSE, and they make them in scientific form, so they will try to sneak it in and make sure you don't know you're eating sugar. So, for example, we're going to talk about these Kodak chocolate peanut butter protein cakes. So, in the ingredients, it says whole grain wheat flour, organic sugar, which obviously is sugar, semi-sweet chocolate, which includes sugar. It says sugar, but the next ingredient is dextrose, which ends in OSE, and I actually looked it up, and it is a form of sucrose. So yeah, that's one way. Like if you saw dextrose on a food label, you would not realize that it is a form of sugar. So that's one way they'll get you more. I think that's the only one they're trying to sneak by you here, but read your food labels because you will be eating more sugar than you realize. Okay, so next I'm going to show you food labels like how I showed you on this. The actual nutrition food labels will show you. So here, this is on the left. This is the old nutrition facts label. They're actually changing it in 2020, so you should have a little category under it on the new one on the right that says added sugar, which is actually really beneficial. So now you don't even have to look at just like the ingredient list. You can just look at the food label. But this is a change that will be happening over time until 2020. So many producers will not change this until later. So for those who have the old food labels, look at the ingredients and look at all the different types of sugars. But for the new food labels, just look under the total sugars and it will say includes however many grams of added sugar, which is super beneficial. Like for this one, it includes 20% of added sugar of your daily recommended value. So you probably wouldn't want to eat that if you're supposed to be eating less than 10% of your calories from that. Okay. So yeah, as I said, a new food label is coming out in 2020. It'll be right under the sugars, so you will know what you're exactly eating. This will specifically help consumers determine how much added sugar is in a product. So this is what the FDA says a food label should look like, and this is what producers are making their food label. So some examples of what sugar can look like in other forms. There's dextrose, which I said is in there, brown sugar, confectionery sugar, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, honey inverted sugar, lactose, malt syrup, maltose, really anything that you say ends in sugar or OSE is probably sugar. So yeah. Too much added sugar in a person's diet can have negative health consequences that can affect their health in the long run. The best method is to gradually decrease sugar intake for adults and children. Parents should offer healthy choices for their children to learn the value of eating good for their health. Eating more fruits and veggies gives you a decreased desire to eat sugary foods, which also gives you more fiber, which will lessen your sugar cravings. These foods contain high amounts of fiber, which I just said. They have the opposite effect that sugar does. Fiber, they kind of like balance each other out, so really beneficial if you're eating too much sugar to eat more fiber. So reading food labels can really, and looking for OSE and just anything that ends with sugar can really help a person manage the amount of added sugar, which can lead to well-balanced, healthy lives.